So you have got a piece of literature in front of you. It might be a book, a journal article, a book chapter, whatever. What do you do with it? How do you ensure that your engagement with that piece of literature is critical? You need to do 3 things. Analyze, interpret, evaluate. Let's break that down. Firstly, analyze. This stage focuses on identifying the points or the arguments that are being made in the text and getting to grips with how they're being presented. The analysis is largely descriptive because before you can critically engage with something, you need to know what's going on within it. Ask yourself the following questions. What points or arguments are being made? What is the text arguing for? What is the text arguing against? What kind of supporting evidence is being provided to back up the points? Statistics, other academic research, qualitative, quantitative? What is it? Is the text just using one type of evidence or is it using multiple types of evidence? Is it using official statistics, grey literature? Is it using largely quantitative or qualitative types of evidence? So now you've got a really good feel for this piece of literature. You know it inside out. Analysis, tick. But it's not enough to analyse. Now we've done the analysis, it's time for the other 2 things we need to do to up our critical game. Second, interpret. When we get into the interpretation zone, we are diving a little bit deeper. It's getting a bit more serious now. You're going to be thinking about the meanings and the implications of that piece of literature. You need to contextualise it. Look at where it sits in the grand scheme of things. Look at its relevance. Look at its potential application. Ask yourself the following questions. Where does this text sit in relation to the other academic literature in this area? In terms of debates, controversies, perspectives, where is it positioned? What perspectives does it support? What perspectives does it challenge? Where does it just go with the flow? Where does it go against the grain? Where is it being a little bit controversial? What body of theory, what wider body of theory does it sit within? For example, in the social sciences, is it coming at the topic from a feminist perspective, a critical race theory perspective, a Marxist perspective? Generally, where is it hanging out? Who is it hanging out with? Does it explicitly acknowledge its theoretical stance? Does it say something like, this article adopts a critical race theory perspective on the US education system? Or does it not say what body of theory it sits within? Have you got to just deduce that yourself from what's being argued? To whom or what can the arguments be applied? To whom or what can the arguments not be applied? Who has it considered? Who has it ignored? Is it super relevant for one particular group or organisation or region? But when it comes to other groups, organisations, regions, you're kind of left scratching your head as to what this has got to do with any of them. How might your reading of this text be biased? What is your own positionality? What's your theoretical take on this? Is this having an impact on how you're reading it? So that is interpretation. You are properly in your critical flow right now. You are getting closer to that fabulous grade. One more thing to do. Evaluate. At this point, you need to form a judgment about the value of this text. Is it a big fish or a little one? Is it a leading actor or just playing a supportive role? Or a walk-on part? Don't be afraid to make that judgment. As long as you can back it up, all good. And here are some questions that you should be asking during the evaluation phase. How convincing is the text? Does it do what it's claiming to do? Look at the title, look at the abstract. Does it follow through on any of those things? Or have you got to the end of it and it hasn't really provided any answers? It has just raised more questions. It's funny how quite a lot of academic literature tends to do that. It says stuff like, more research is needed. Anyway, other questions. What does it contribute towards knowledge and understanding in this area? Does the evidence that it's provided actually stand up to scrutiny? Are the sources it's drawn on valid and reliable? Is it a bit one-sided? Has it considered all of the potential angles? Should it have done? No one piece of literature can do everything, after all, so be reasonable. What are its strengths and its weaknesses? What's missing? Is some of it a bit flaky? For example, it's about an actual research study and you're not exactly sure how the researchers did it. If you wanted to go out and do that same study tomorrow, could you use what they've written as a kind of recipe? Are they missing out any key steps? Think about the different theoretical standpoints on this topic. What would they have to say about this text? Is it better or worse than other texts that you've read? Explain why. Where would you rank it overall in terms of its usefulness for and relevance to the topic? And there you have it, the 3 stages of critical analysis that will help move your academic work from a bit too descriptive to this was an excellent, well-evidenced example of a critical analysis. That is what we want to read in our feedback, isn't it? Make sure you go through this 3-step process for every item of academic literature that you read. And to help you stay organised with this, I have this fantastic printable PDF, the Literature Review Log Sheet. You can download it completely free from my website and I will link to that in the description. So get over there now, grab yours and go get your critical groove on. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my top tips on how to supercharge your studies. I will see you later, lovely people.